y'all, welcome back to another video. I'm sure you guys can tell from the title that in today's video I'm going to be speaking to you guys a little bit on how to deal with anxiety, maybe a little bit of depression, sadness, all that stuff just compiled into one bigger video. Look who's here. Aw, she makes me really happy, guys. That's honestly a really therapeutic part about having a dog, is just like the therapy they give you. You don't even realize it sometimes, but it's honestly really therapeutic. So I'm very blessed to have her. Now, going back to topic, I don't want to make this a really long video, and I'm not a doctor or a therapist or anything, but I'm just gonna kind of like share with you guys a little bit of what I've been doing, what I've done, stuff like that. I think it is very much very normal for a teenager or just anybody in general to like go through some stage in their life where they're not completely happy, or they just have a lot of anxiety, depression. It comes from a lot of multiple factors. It's not just like one specific thing. Maybe you had a loss in your family, maybe you had a separation from somebody, maybe your boyfriend or girlfriend left you, stuff like that. And I think that is definitely natural. Nobody's perfect, and we're all gonna go through these roller coasters of emotion. Now, how do we deal with them in order to, get better? Because you don't want to stay in that place for too long. It's okay to sit there and cry for a little bit. It's okay to be sad for a few days, but it is not okay to stay there for too long and basically overstay your welcome. I don't know if you guys have heard this video or this quote from Medea. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it. Was it from Medea? I believe it was. I'm gonna go ahead and insert it.
It's all right to sit around, be depressed for a minute, cry about it, do whatever you have to, but don't stay there too long. Get up and go on with your life.
I think this is such a video and quote that I live by on the daily. You want to accept your feelings. You want to recognize them. You want to understand that it's okay to be sad and it's okay to be depressed, but you don't want to stay there forever because you're only doing yourself damage. Now, why did I come and just do this video? I don't know if you guys can tell from my eyes. I don't know. I really don't think you guys could tell because I've always, thankfully, always since I was little, no matter how much I cried, for how long I cried, as soon as I stopped crying, oh my gosh. As soon as I stopped crying, my eyes would completely go back to white. They wouldn't stay red. You know, when people cry, sometimes their eyes stays a little red. My eyes do not. So it's very hard to ever know if I truly was just crying. But I'm not gonna lie, guys. Right before I filmed this video, like, it is 1:26 in the morning, guys. Okay, so it is late. It's late. I'm supposed to be in bed. Today is Easter, actually. So I'm gonna go to sleep soon and then wake up to make Easter baskets and stuff like that. Not too long ago, I just had an anxiety attack. I mean, it was awful. I think this was one of my worst ones, and I had to kind of like cope with it by myself and then later get my brother, and just I knew I would calm down as soon as I was with him, and that's what kept me from going completely berserk. It was just very bad. Obviously, if you have anxiety, you know that a lot of times you are anxious at all times of the day. You are anxious. You can't really like stay steady on your feet. You're just like moving around. You're just very, excited. A lot of people who always seem really happy can often have anxiety because they're hiding it by being really jumpy and being really happy and, hey, oh my gosh, and inside they have anxiety. Now, not all anxiety, I would say, is, like bad. Like sometimes, like I said, it doesn't mean you cry every single day just because you have anxiety. But when you do feel like crying and you have anxiety, you tend to overthink things. So now when you're crying, you're overthinking a million things, and now you're getting negative thoughts, and it turns into like a shit show. Excuse my language. So obviously now when, before I recorded this video, I was in that dark place. I like to call it like a little dark place because I find myself that I keep going to that same place every time I get my anxiety attacks. It's like a little place in my head. I don't like it, and I always go back to it. So I like to, call it a little place. This wasn't just like out of the blue I had an anxiety attack. Something happened for me to have this anxiety attack, and the same thing that happened to me today tends to be the reason a lot of times why I have these attacks. But I could tell that today was not good. Like a lot. Sometimes I can control it. Sometimes I can seek help like in a matter of seconds. And today's was a little bit like oh my gosh. So I know I'm like here like smiling now and everything's okay, but it wasn't okay, and I really had to control my emotions. Now, I wanted to come on here and record this video because I know there's so many people out here who have anxiety and who go through anxiety attacks and who drink medication to help them with their anxiety. So I just kind of like wanted to share my story a little bit and let you guys know that if that is you, you're not alone. I'm right on the same boat as you. Also, if that is not you, just so that you get a raw and realer version of me, I am not perfect. A lot of people are like, oh, Patricia, you know, she's always smiling, she's always happy, she, you know, works a lot, she goes to school, like she's just living her life, everything is going good for her, all that good stuff. And it's not always the case. Sometimes I sit here and I cry, and sometimes I'm recording and I start crying, but obviously I post what I want y'all to see. So you don't see the videos of me crying. Why? Because I chose not to post those. But don't think that I don't have those in my phone. So a lot of times I just kind of like keep that to myself, because I don't want to say that I'm not ready to post that kind of content, because honestly, I want to be so real on my channel. I want to show y'all when I cry, because I know that you cry too. So we might as well sit here and cry together, because maybe we won't be so sad since, you know, we're not crying alone. But there's always trolls out there, and I guess like since I'm still dealing with my anxiety, it's not something that I've yet been able to fix 100%. Maybe I've fixed it like 50, 60, 70%, not 70, I would say like 60 something, but it's not at that full like passing rate. I didn't really want to expose myself to being trolled of like, oh, she's crying for views or she's crying for this. No, like anyone who knows me knows that I haven't monetized my channel, and what I do here is simply because I literally love to do it, not because I'm getting paid, not because somebody told me to do this, not because, matter of fact, I don't even think I should be recording right now. I should probably be sleeping, but I do it because it's like I feel like I have a purpose on this channel, and it's to help other people. So if me coming on here and crying is gonna help somebody realize that they're not alone, that people fight the same stuff that they're fighting or battling with as well, then I feel like I've done, you know, what I'm supposed to do, which is help people. Some tips I would say that is something that you should definitely do and follow, and that have been helping me cope with my anxiety, is number one, to accept it for what it is. So if you're going through a rough situation and you're just like, I just don't understand why this is going on, first, yes, try to understand. Try to have someone explain it to you. But a lot of times the reason we get anxiety is because we don't understand, and like it's just not making sense. Somebody's explaining it to us. We're trying to understand, but it doesn't make sense. And it's like, what is going on? And at that point, you can't kill yourself with so many questions. Oh my gosh, why did this happen? Why does this have to happen to me? I'm such a good person. Why is it going on like this? Why does it happen like this? Why? No, you fill yourself with who, what, whys, where, when, how. Like you fill yourself with every single question, and you're only doing damage to yourself. So at that point, you have to accept it for what it is. Oh, he left me for another girl? Okay. You try to understand. Hell, wait, was it something that I did wrong? Was it because I wasn't pretty? Was it because I wasn't catering to him? Like, what was it that I did wrong? But you will kill yourself asking the same questions, and sometimes you won't figure it out. You might ask somebody else. You might ask that person. The person might not have a realistic answer. They might tell you just something to get you off their shoulder. So you have to accept it for what it is. Well, this is what was made for me. This is what God had planned for me. This is what he threw down my path. I'm going to accept it and keep moving. You can't just accept it and stay there. Accept it and keep moving. I've always believed in God, prayed. I've always been very religious since I was little. But when I started with my anxiety and started dealing with some bigger things that were thrown, like some real problems thrown my way, not some like, oh, my boyfriend left me. Not saying that that's not a problem, but it was more like family, financials, like these bigger problems where I was just in a very, very bad position. I turned to God, and that was just like my way out. Religiously, every single night in the shower, I was praying. Every night before bed, I was praying. I had like a specific prayer that I would say. I would always try to be kind. And I feel like, honestly, maybe the reason I try to help people so much is because I saw how God helped me. So it's just like personal things, and it's hard to really understand when you haven't experienced it, or when you don't know how to change yourself or how to turn to somebody. I really do understand. First and foremost, you have to be wanting to get better, because no one's going to better you. You have to better yourself. So even though you might not know how to, you have to want to better yourself. For example, you might not want to get out of bed, but you have to, because no one's going to get you out of bed. Now, once you're out of bed, it's easier to seek help, because you weren't going to find help while you stayed in bed. So make sure you try to accept things for what they are. Try to understand to your best ability. And if you can't, like I said, just accept it and keep moving forward. Do not stay in that negative place, in that negative mindset. Turn to someone or something that you feel like can lead you in the right direction, whether that's God, whether that's talking to yourself, whether that's writing love notes to yourself if you feel like you don't love yourself. Something that just will guide you into a positive light. I personally, one thing that I also believe in is that God will never put you in a position where he feels like you can't handle the situation, number one. And number two, usually the pain that God makes you go through is because he has a bigger reward coming for you. So a lot of times I like to think in the shower when I would pray was, wow, God has this wonderful things coming for me. I know they're going to be huge and wonderful, because even though I'm crushing inside and I'm going through all this pain, I said I'm going through a lot of pain. So the reward has to be even bigger than anything I could expect. So that's how you have to think about it. And I know not everybody believes, and I know there's different religions, and I get it, okay? And I'm not trying to force any type of religion onto anybody. I would never do that. And there's some people who worship cows, and there's some people who worship other things, and that is completely fine. I'm just trying to tell you guys that if you're like me, this might work for you. And if you're not like me, try something that might work for you, in the sense of like maybe someone that can listen to you, some type of guidance. Maybe if you just need to hear loving comments from yourself because you need more self-love, then go for it. But that's definitely something that helped me, you know, just telling myself that I was going to get something bigger in reward, because I know that I was going through a lot, but I still had faith in the Lord. And that really just, it just took me to a whole other level. I was just like, I'm gonna be okay. And I put this picture actually as my screensaver for some time. I'm gonna go ahead and try to insert it now. And it's basically the little boy has to give Jesus his teddy bear, and the little boy is like, but why? Like, why would you take something away from me if you know how much I love it? But God is saying, because I have something better for you. But the kid doesn't know that. So the kid is like, he's taking this away from me, you know, and the kid is contemplating his thoughts, maybe dealing with some type of anxiety. I have to let go of this little bear. I'm going to be so sad. But it's because God has this bigger bear for him. Essentially saying God has a bigger blessing for you, even though you think it's, oh, he's doing this to mess with me. He's doing this. He wants to make me sad. No. He knows what he's doing. So make sure that you turn to whoever can maybe guide you. Psychological help is never a bad thing. A lot of times people don't like to speak about it. A lot of times people like to act like they don't need no type of help. And first of all, there's 3 different types, okay? There's a therapist, psychologist, and psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is the one who assigns you pills, like essentially if your depression is really, really bad. And that is okay to take medication. Since when does that have to get looked down upon? If you go to a psychologist, that's okay. Sometimes we feel a little, you know, like our screws are a little loose in here because of stuff that we've gone through. It does not mean that there's something wrong with us. Or if you want to go to a therapist, essentially it's just like talking about your problems and expressing it to somebody who can give you some legit guidance, not your homegirl who might end up stabbing you in the back if she likes your boyfriend, you know? So don't feel embarrassed or ashamed if you have to go to those things. Nevertheless, if you don't want to say that out loud to people, you definitely don't have to. That is definitely personal business, and since it deals in the medical field, it's also HIPAA violation for them to tell anybody. So definitely whatever you talk to the therapist or psychologist is going to be between you and that person, okay? They can't tell anybody because it's against the law. So that's something that I would look into if you're feeling really, really down. I think it's always good to talk to somebody, even if you're feeling a lot better about yourself, or you feel like you're finally stable and you haven't felt stable in a long time. It's still good to check in with somebody and just confirm, because you never know. Personally, me, I've been to therapists and psychologists and stuff. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to come out here and occult like if I haven't been. I have been, and I think it's been good. You know, some therapists are better than others. I've definitely been to some that are just like, oh my gosh, why am I here? But that is definitely okay. So I'm just sharing my experience to make you feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, if you need a therapist, it's okay. And if you go to therapy, then that's great, because sometimes you need to let stuff go off your chest, and you need somebody that you feel safe around. And sometimes people don't have that. People don't have friends like that or family like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and conclude the video here, simply because I just don't want to make it super long. I'll probably do a part 2 to this because I feel like this is something that I can really, really relate on. And I feel like it's something that a lot of people, especially my age, teenagers, I know I have an audience of a lot of like people who are on the younger side, people who are trying to work, hustle, who go to school, who are trying to make money. So this is common behavior that you see amongst that crowd. You also see this behavior with adults. Adults go through depression as well. Adults go through anxiety. I mean, this is just a very broad audience that I'm attracting with this type of content, because this can be helpful just towards anybody. But I know for my teenagers out there, since I'm also one, I can relate on a more of a personal level. So I just want to keep doing this and really just like help people out, because like I said, I've been there. I'm trying to get out of there right now currently, and I want to share my past experiences to hopefully help somebody out, because I've truly been there, y'all, like at the very, very lowest, and nobody knew, because it's very easy to think that so-and-so has a perfect life if I'm always smiling and acting like everything's 100%, and it's not. It's not. I mean, things have been very much at like a 10%. So I'm gonna go ahead and just conclude it here, but stay tuned. If you guys could please subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. Also comment down below if it was helpful. Matter of fact, if you don't feel like commenting down below, oh, it was helpful, because maybe you're a little ashamed of it, or you don't want people knowing that you watched this video for genuine help, just go ahead and comment down a heart to just keep it positive and show some type of love in this channel. So go ahead and comment a heart or comment whatever you want. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks so much for tuning in. And don't worry, please don't worry if you're feeling sad, you want to cry. It's okay. It happens. You're not alone. Go ahead and cry. Don't stay there too long. Hit me up if you need a friend, and I'll see y'all soon. Bye, my pretties.